Welcome back to the PeopleNova Podcast. I'm Rachel O'Neill. We had an unprecedented start to 2021, speaking of Black Swan events. Today's episode is part 2, where we continue our conversation with the amazing Donnie Bedney. This 2-part conversation started with acknowledging the Black Swan moment of history we are all living through. Now, we go further with the discussion of intentionally honing your superpower, because being you is your greatest superpower. Okay, here we go, folks. Yeah, there was an article I just read in one of the bajillion newsletters I get about a CEO who burst like a pipe. And he was like, yeah, all right, people, I got to step back. I just burst. And I'm like, oof, love yourself. Like self-care is really important. And
lonely at the top, man. You know, people just believe, you know, we have so many colloquialisms and like sayings. Once again, you talk about the society and stuff like that. We have so many sayings that are really have some truth to them, and others that are myths, right? And
are not serving us. So just put it
at all.
Right.
Like this whole like self-made thing is like such a myth, because all of these quote unquote self-made people have, if you look at their trajectory, the team of people that they have around them that, you know, they've worked so well together to become successful. I mean, look at the examples, and people often overlook this because I think that they like the PayPal mafia, right? Okay. Think about the ridiculously smart individuals that were a part of PayPal, right? Even the fact that Elon Musk, like, actually was running a startup that basically failed and then bought PayPal, right? I mean, so like the acquisition of that was not like Elon Musk thought of PayPal and just whatever. No. His company was failing. He bought PayPal. There were some really smart people who also happened to start some ridiculous companies like Yelp and LinkedIn, and I mean, and the list goes on. But all these people were together and continue to work together.
Yeah.
Because they're amazing at what they do individually, really sharp, right? Individually, but well-rounded as a team.
And they know how to work with each other.
That's it.
Yeah.
So this myth of like being well-rounded as an individual is like not true. You should not be well-rounded as an individual.
No, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to know. You have to know what your superpowers are, right? And you know how to cover your flank, right?
That's it.
And like,
you're right.
This, right?
That's it.
Yeah. That is absolutely one of the things that self-awareness is one of the things that I work with my clients, is like, you don't have to be okay at everything. Stop apologizing, right? Like, you do not have to be okay with it. You have to know how you work.
It's a societal thing again, man.
Total societal pressures, right? Know how you work and just put that out there. One of the favorite things that I like to do with my clients is draft their leadership topography map. Is again the woodsy wilderness theme, right? Like, what are the contours of your leadership? What is it like to work with you, for you? What are the good signs? What are the not great signs? Hey man, like, full disclosure, I'm not perfect, right?
Sure.
So going into a relationship and being like, all right, well, Rachel doesn't know Excel spreadsheets. Cool. I'm not going to ask her to do hard stuff on Excel, right? But then like holding people to, holding their feet to the flame when they're doing something that they're not good at is like, okay, coaching for improvement is not going to improve anything because they're not good at it.
And why would you even have them in that role?
Well, okay, great.
Like, that's not what they're doing. Like, it's just self-fulfilling prophecy.
As you go in and you're like, what's expected of me? What's expected of the role, of the company? What's the mission? Like, can I do that? Like, oh, I need a job. That's different. Okay. Like, like, think about, are you going to be aligned with the mission? Are you going to be motivated for the mission? And are you going to bring your superpowers? And are they going to overlap? Are they going to duplicate? Are they going to be complementary? Right? Those are the things that.
Are people going to nurture them?
Yeah. And not be competitive with them and be like, wow, Rachel's really good at interviewing or like telling jokes. I'm going to be good at telling jokes. I'm going to compete.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not.
If that's not your thing, like, don't let it be your thing.
Don't let it be your thing.
Go to Rachel when you need a joke to open up your speech.
Easy.
Right? practice it. Yeah. Like but don't spend all day trying to like create better jokes than Rachel. Like, you don't have to try to be funny. Like you're never going to dress better than Donnie. Like just embrace your fashion and like, like be you, find what's appropriate for you. And like, that's fine. Like, I don't feel threatened whether you dress down or dress up or not. I'm going to dress exactly how I feel that day.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's going to help you shine.
It's going to help me show up as my authentic self. I want to do whatever, like my daily routine, the days that are amazing are the ones that I show up as my authentic self throughout the entire day. And so when I manage my energy, when I do the things, in my daily routine where I can show up as my authentic self, I crush those days. Not like there's no in between. It's like I crush those days. Now, the days that I don't do everything, like those may be okay days and I may have some good moments, especially once again, when you're talking about roles and stuff like that, when you're doing things that, really kind of give you life, as opposed to suck, away from you.
Yeah. But
when I'm not, doing that and I'm not doing things that I know help me show up as my authentic self, those are not great days. And I think that we all have those. And once again, another myth, that we have the ability to compartmentalize and like be different people. If the pandemic is like, it has shown people anything, it's debunking this myth that you can actually like, you're a different person at work. Yeah. You're a different person at home. Yeah. Because now you get to see you're actually the same person.
Oh my gosh. You just touched on one of my favorite things when I be working with clients and we do assessments and like, whatever alphabet soup or colors or wheels or what have you. Sometimes they'd ask me, do you want me to answer the way I am at work or the way I am at home? And I'm like, that's a problem, man. That emotional energy it must take to be multiple people, not clinically multiple people, but just like how I am differently and how I should like, that's the harmony that we got to work on. Step one.
Yeah. Like, not to be gender specific at all, but like, just stop being Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Like if you're Superman, right? Like just be Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's one of the interesting parts to me as you look through all these superheroes. Like Bruce Wayne, I used to hate Batman for years and years and years, just because I'm like, dude, this guy is just like, why can't he just be who he really is? Like if he wants to be like this, like vigilante and like stop crime or whatever, like why doesn't he just do that? Instead of like trying to be this philanthropic quadrillionaire, kind of person who then decides whether or not like somebody or what somebody's doing is right or wrong. And so that's why the whole Batman versus Superman thing, like I was super pissed off because I'm like, we need freaking Superman. And this dude who cannot just like deal with his own issues, if he would just sit at home and do his thing, then we'd still have Superman. Like just
it's called therapy. Anyway, everybody needs
it. Just please. That's such a great note. As you're climbing and growing within your careers, this is why it's so important to invest in yourself. Yeah. I have a coach. I have a therapist.
Great.
My wife and I are now looking for like a marriage counselor, not because our relationship is, messed up or anything else, but because we want to get better as a couple.
Oh my God.
Like that's being proactive about that. Like some of the mistakes that people make along like this journey of life,
they wait too
long. That you're waiting, like invest in yourself as you're growing.
Right.
Because I'm investing in myself on the, executive acceleration, us and our marriage, etc., is because we want to be married for, 100 years. Right?
You are amazing.
Like that's what you have to do, right? Like it's not, you can't all of a sudden think that, if you aspire to be an executive leader and you're not currently an executive leader, you can't expect that like you're going to then get a coach when you become a CEO.
No.
You may never get there because you're not going to, once again, work with amazing folks like my friend Rachel and others as you're continuing to grow. Think about who you want to be in the future and then build and create that person.
Yeah.
It is a myth that you are just naturally going to become that person.
Yeah.
You have to actually build and create the person that you want to be in the future.
Set those intentions. Absolutely. Set those intentions. Be clear about what that is and unapologetic. It is who you are. Yeah.
Everybody's not going to aspire to the same things that you do.
Nope.
Set your intention and take action. Whatever it is, just find the first step that you can take towards that. When you're done listening to this podcast, email Rachel. Shoot her a note on LinkedIn. I'm sure she's on all social media. Hop in her DMs. I need help, right? Like you can shoot me a note. Find me. We're connected on a bunch of stuff. I will refer you to somebody. But like understand that like you need to, as you're continuing to grow, you need to find people that can pour into you, that can help you identify, there's affordable assessments that can help you identify your strengths, build on those. Once again, hire a coach, other individuals that you can move towards. And if you're an executive who has never had a coach and you find that you're struggling with the growth of your business, etc., once again, people like Rachel, others who have worked in the space, etc. That's because you need an outlet.
You do.
Period.
Yep.
Like you
don't burst
have
like a
to
pipe.
be able to have that team. Oh, please don't burst like a pipe.
Right. Fine.
That's going to be our new thing.
I love it. I love it.
Rachel, how you doing? Don't burst like a pipe. You taking care of yourself?
Oh my God. Oh, I love it. I love it. Where do we go from here? So great.
So many places.
So many places, right? Like listeners, I hope you're taking notes because there have been so many amazing things that you can start doing right away and care for yourself, right? Love the fact that you have your own coach. Love the fact that you have therapists. I went through 5 years of cognitive behavioral therapy. I went through an intensive 7-day Hoffman Institute. Absolutely transformational, more than Burning Man. Okay, right? Like find the thing that's going to support you.
Yeah.
And it might not support somebody else, and that's okay. Like they're on their path. You are on your path. Nurture yourself to be amazing. I love the fact that you and your wife are seeking to be an amazing couple for the rest of your life. That is just adorable and full of love.
So I'm telling you, man, just thank you. Number one. And there's so many myths, man. Like my hope for this podcast and my love for you, of course, is outstanding. So like, cause you're an amazing person. But I just really hope that we can debunk some of these myths, like the self-made person. We live in a microwave society where like people believe like, oh man, Steve Jobs was working in a garage and now he's Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Bill Gates the same way. Like
in a blip. No.
Like I get so tired of like all these startups started in this garage, the Jeff Bezos with the Amazon sign on the wall. And now he's like, the badass with the glasses and like bald head and vest and, doing all these amazing things. Get amazing people like image consultants who can help you with that growth. Yeah. But please understand that throughout this time, they decided there was some intentionality about who they wanted to become. And then there were action steps. So just find the next step. You don't have to know all the steps.
Nope.
You can hire someone who has expertise in kind of helping you through that, but just find the next one. So if the next step is, once again, shooting Rachel a note, then just take that step. So I'm going to debunk something for somebody right now. And so if you all don't take anything else from what we talked about today, which I think you'll take a bunch of nuggets, as Rachel just said. So I'm so happy we did this, and hopefully I get to come back because I will be listening to all the other episodes, and then maybe we'll get to help you all out again. I want you to remove the word try from your vocabulary. And I want you to remove it because I want you to understand through this exercise and watching me and Rachel right now that try actually doesn't exist. right? At all. And so we're going to go through the exercise, and I want you all to witness this. And then if you see me on the streets or anything else, and like you want to actually walk through this exercise yourself so you can feel it, then we can walk through it again. But this is the best thing that I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
That helped remove this completely from my vocabulary. All right. So Rachel, she's
I'm so scared.
this pressure. It's all right. Turn towards the wall.
Okay.
Turn towards the wall.
That one?
All right. Yep. So Rachel, I need you to try and touch the wall.
Well, I have to walk over here and
No, wait, no.
Okay.
Go back. Come back. I didn't say go and touch the wall. I need you to try and touch the wall. Not stand still. I need you to try and touch the wall.
Okay. So like
I need you to, no, not stay in the same place. I need you to try and touch the wall.
I feel like I'm trying. Am I doing this wrong? I want to go touch it.
Not go and touch it. I need you to try and touch the wall. I hope this is feeling as awkward for you as it is for everybody who's watching.
Totally awkward.
This is perfect.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna pause the example now, right? As I said, try and touch the wall, right? What I witnessed, but I want you to articulate what you were feeling. What I witnessed is the first thing you attempted to do is you just raised your hands.
Yeah.
But then when I repeated it one more time, your next reaction was to move towards it.
Get shit done,
right?
dude.
Like literally go to do it.
I'm just going
right?
to go do it.
Exactly. But then when I said, no, not go touch the wall, I need you to try, then the mind screwing, and I'm not going to drop that, but you know what I'm about to say,
I think
began ensuing. Yep. That time began ensuing, and you were like, well, but you were standing still, but you're like, well, what am I supposed to do, etc. Only for, that time period to continue until once again, you came to the conclusion, well, the only way I can do is to actually move towards and actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The point of the exercise is this. Trying does not exist because either you will do it or you will not. You can't try to do anything. So going back to the movie reference, Yoda.
Okay, good. Thank you for going there.
Movie reference, Yoda says, do or don't do, there is no try.
Yeah.
And that exercise, which typically I do with a chair, is one in which you get to physically feel what it's like when you express that you are going to try and do something. Because even in the process of doing, right? Like you're moving towards it.
Yeah.
Even if you're moving towards the wall and you haven't touched it, you're still in the process of doing. You're not trying.
Trying has ended. Trying is over. It's the doing.
You're either doing it.
It's a different verb.
Like you're doing it.
Yeah.
Or because the only reason people use try is a cop-out.
Oh, shit.
So as we talked about like failure and stuff like that before, like it's like and you have friends, I'm sure, like this, right? Like you tell your friends like, hey, we're going to Burning Man this year. Just keep circling back to that. Hey, we're going to Burning Man this year. Like, are you down? Oh, I'll try and come.
I'll try. And maybe
they're not coming.
We'll see. No, they're totally not
coming. No, they're not coming.
Totally
right?
not.
So as you think about, what you aspire to be, what you want to create, etc., I'm telling you, do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But don't say you're going to try.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be, like you said, the friends and family, people who love you will applaud you. They'll pat your back, you on the back, when you say you're going to try and do these things.
That's what we do as family,
right?
and love.
But you're not doing it.
It's not actually happening.
You either are doing it And once again, even if you haven't reached your goal, at least you are taking the next step and moving towards it.
Yeah.
But I want you to think through this awkward, exercise that we just went through and what you saw Rachel doing, because there literally, she was either standing still or she was moving towards touching the wall. Yeah. At which point she was doing. That is literally the only thing that exists. You either are not doing it or you are doing it. Mm-hmm. And so as you think about creating the person that you want to be, as you think about career aspirations, as you think about personal pieces, right? Like you can't go camping sitting at home, right? Like you're camping or you're not.
Or you're not.
Right? Yep. Like there's no, there's no in between, right?
Much as I try to move off of a binary mindset, which is the like do or do not, right? Mm-hmm. Like Carol Dweck, love growth mindset, right? Like there are some times where like it just makes sense. Like, yes, I want to embrace a growth mindset and like pushing that envelope, but you have to do something to push your envelope. Staying comfortable at home, on the couch, doom scrolling is not going to find happiness.
Not going to do it, man. Cold showers in the morning, like whatever you got to do.
That's it.
Make yourself uncomfortable. Rachel and I will put you through this exercise. I'm telling you, like with a chair on the opposite end of the room, somebody against the like literally opposite ends of the room, taking somebody through that exercise. That's is one of the most uncomfortable things for anyone to actually experience. Yeah. And especially for someone like you who's a doer. Yeah. It's like, dude, I'm just going to go get this done.
Boom.
But I'm like, no, you can't. Wait, what? Because even then, once again, like then you begin, like then doubt starts creeping in. You're like, what is happening? Then you're like, oh, am I looking stupid on my podcast? Like, what are other people thinking about me?
I said that. I'm like, I'm getting punked.
Societal pressures, right, etc. And it's like, no, like because you're a doer. Like if I said go touch the wall, you would go touch the wall. Yeah. If I said try and touch the wall, then you're like. So as you think about even telling, as you talk about creating environments, I mean, think about creating environments at work so that it's okay to fail. Yeah. Right? Like, hey, I want you to do this. Like our goal is to reduce turnover or our goal is to
new market.
Yeah. Like that's what we want to do. That's our goal. Get it done. Don't try and expand into a new market. How do you try and expand into a new market?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like
I don't know how you try.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it's a great question.
Put it together. Absolutely. Put it together. Oh my gosh, we could be talking forever. Maybe we have to split this into two. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I'll leave that up to you and your amazing edit team.
One of my favorite questions to ask all of my guests, and we touched on music a little bit. We touched on Burning Man, which is art. One of my favorite questions I like to ask every guest. What is your favorite art? Medium or modality?
My favorite art.
I'll give you a minute to think. There's a quote that like motivates this. It's from Darren Walker, who's the CEO of the Ford Foundation.
Okay.
And the quote is, without art, there is no empathy. And without empathy, there is no justice.
Wow. Man, I don't know if that makes it easier for me or like takes me into like, I need to internally process this. And I'm an external processor.
We can talk it out if you want to. I can go there. I'm a, what is it? Ambivert? Yeah, there we go. I'm an ambivert.
Man. So he went to justice. I'm like, man, where is this going?
Empathy is that emotion.
Emotions are huge, man. I mean, so where it kind of takes me is just back to this belief about superpowers, man. I used to, years ago, I worked for the Gallup organization, and I don't know if you're familiar with Strength Finder. I think we actually talked about it maybe one of the first times we met. And I don't know if you know this statistic, but I believe I'm going to get it right. It's been years. If you want to find a person who has the exact same top 5 as you in the exact same order, the odds of finding that person are 1 in 33 million, right? That's the depth of StrengthsFinder, right? And the science behind it, right? 1 in 33 million. So if you think about like the US, what do we have? Like 300 million people. So that means there's probably 9, maybe 10 people who have your exact same top 5 in the exact same order. Maybe, right? But check this out. And this is what really blows my mind. So as we think about art and empathy and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to find somebody who has the exact same top, so full 34 as you in the exact same order.
Yeah.
It is 1 in an undezillion. And the only reason I know that word is because my good buddy, shout out to Stephen Shields. Stephen, if you hear this, love you, man. There was a gentleman, and if I'm remembering the story correctly, a gentleman who sued, I believe it was the city of New York, for an undezillion dollars. And it was to prove a point, because an undezillion, there is not enough money on the planet Earth to equal an undezillion. And I'm saying that to say, you are unique. You are special. You have superpowers that no one else in the world has. And so when I think about art, and I guess it's only appropriate because we're talking about, people and business and all that. You are a superhero, and there is literally no one like you in the world. And so that gives me the utmost empathy when I come into a room, understanding that I can be 100% myself and know that there is no one like me, never has there been. And every single person that is in the room with me, it can give me appreciation for the fact that there is no one like them either. Mm. That's what I got.
Wow.
I think we can end on that, right?
I got nothing,
good closing?
Yeah.
Is that a good closing?
That's a wrap.
That one just, wow, that came out of the way. But yeah, yeah, man, that really, that's how I view the world. And I think that the more people that we can spread this message to that can hear this, I think that kind of thinking can, really has the ability to transform, has the ability to, once again, allow people to be empathetic. And I think to that extent, honestly, it kind of ties into that quote, right? The more empathetic people are, then I think the more clearly we could probably all articulate and define, justice. Mm-hmm. And maybe everyone could get justice, in that case. Yeah, that's actually going to give me more to think about. So I'm gonna have to look up that quote, or maybe you can text it to me.
I will definitely send that to you. We'll post it in the show notes because it has been incredibly powerful. I am an artist. I create art, and really understanding the depth of emotions that art evokes, in me and what I produce, but then also how other people resonate with art, right? And, to do the Burning Man joke, I think Burning Man is about the art, right? It is about the amazing sculptures that are there, and your interactions are going to be so different. I'm also a very kinesthetic and tactile person. I hate museums. You just look at shit. I want to climb on it, right? I want to experience the art and involve.
Touch it. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, finding ways to stir up those emotions in a healthy and a moving way is incredibly helpful, because I think my personal opinion, right? Like, I think some of the harm that society is causing, and I'll just say society at large, is from lack of emotion and lack of feeling for others, for ourselves, for our self-care. Hey man, like, yeah, that gelato is yummy, but maybe only one or two. But like, how do we love ourselves?
Yeah, man.
Ourselves and then care for others?
We'll have to do another episode or something about that. I think, because I think the funny thing about our society is that, and once again, this is probably because I've worked with organizations that are, when you think about behavioral economics, right, and whereas traditional economics are the study of what people should do, all things being perfect. Behavioral economics is basically the study of, for those who don't know this, it's the study of what people actually do.
Right.
So I can think of a number of examples, but just one of the examples is kind of like purchasing a car, right? That would be one of the most PC ones. It's an emotional purchase, right? If everyone, if you literally thought about, well, I just need the most fuel efficient, safe, vehicle ever, and that's also kind for the environment, then maybe like everybody would just be driving Nissan Leafs, right? But that's not the case, right?
It's not.
And so it's amazing how as a society, as you mentioned, like, people feel some sort of pressure to not necessarily be emotional. And since we're talking about business, et cetera, a lot of people feel that, they can't necessarily emote, right? While everyone wants to be real PC, articulate, and, use synonyms and, all these, terrible words that
I think the Industrial Revolution also harmed us because it wanted efficiencies. Don't think, just do, right? And don't feel, just do, right? And it's like, all right, Deming, no thanks. Like, I want to feel the impact of my decision, and I want to acknowledge, I made a mistake, or I want to support the growth of one of my teammates, right?
And those are the organizations that are the most effective, not efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. We're definitely going to come back for a round 2.
Put a note in that when we do talk again, I think we should talk about effectiveness versus efficiency.
Great.
And the impact that the 40-hour work week or 50, 60, 70, 80-hour work week has. And I hope that we can do some research about what's currently going on with people working from home, because I have a theory that, once again, everything that we do now from a work perspective is based on efficiency, not on people being effective. And so that's why projects and everything else, like, people feel like, oh, I need to log 40 hours, 50, 60, whatever.
Slog through.
But they're not, like, you could literally get your work done in like 3-4 days, max, which would ultimately impact like our well-being as, a country, et cetera, significantly more. So I will love exploring that and hearing more about how you feel about it in the future.
Oh, absolutely. That is given. We will definitely come back for a round 2.
Let's do it.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Donnie,
really thank you.
Thank you. I had a blast. These conversations are so energizing. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of the amazing nuggets that you shared with our listeners. If there's anything that we can do for you, just let us know. Just ask.
Yeah. I mean, feel free to reach out. Anybody, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on a social break now, but I'm still, kind of around social, Donnie Bedney on Twitter, et cetera. Feel free to reach out. I'm actually on a pretty cool app right now that I'm beta testing called Clubhouse. Shout out to Clubhouse.
I've heard of Clubhouse.
Clubhouse is amazing. I think
is
you would
it?
enjoy
I've heard
it
it's a little bit of a shit show, but
I'm We'll talk offline.
Okay, great.
I think you would love it. So we'll talk offline about it. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I'm actually looking for some more invitations so I can invite some more people because I think it's pretty cool.
Okay.
So
all
anyway,
right.
that once again, offline conversation, but thank you so much, Rachel. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Donnie. This has been great.
It's been awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the PeopleNova Podcast. My name is Rachel O'Neill. The team here at PeopleNova Human Capital would love to hear from you. We are always curious to hear from our listeners. So go ahead and send us an email, podcast@peoplenovahc.com, with your workplace questions or suggestions for who you'd like to see on our show. If you send us an audio memo, we may include your question on the show. Lastly, we are here to amplify. Our guests are amazing entrepreneurs, and we want you to forward our newsletter to someone in your network who needs to know the amazing things our guests are doing, so together we can make an impact. Thank you so much. Take care, and we will see you next time.